Hello and welcome to another episode of Industry Celebrities. My name is Kimberly Scott, former video girl and now podcast rookie. Industry Celebrities is a podcast where I interview professionals in all sorts of industries, asking questions about their passion or their industry, which makes them all a celebrity to me. If you would like to share your knowledge of your industry and be on Industry Celebrities, email me at Kimberly, that's Kimberly, at marketingdoer.com, and you can listen to other episodes by searching Kimberly D. Scott on iTunes for you iPhone users, and Spotify, and Anchor for Android users, or watch or listen, I should say, on YouTube. Just search Kimberly D. Scott. So now that we got that out of the way, please welcome my guest today, Mr. Michael Lang, also known as your caring car guy. Hi, Michael.
Hey, how are you, Kimberly? Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Thank you for joining me today. I appreciate you jumping out there.
It's exciting. It's exciting to do something different, and it's exciting to join you about a new adventure and passion, and it's fun. You know, we live in a world where, you know, it's getting out of your comfort zone, and
we're doing that
really
today.
Engaging, right?
Yes.
Exactly.
Awesome. Well, let's get started by telling my listeners a little bit about yourself and what industry you're in.
So I've been in the auto industry for 4 years. I actually work for Huffines Hyundai McKinney. So I started off with Honda, sold Hondas for 2 years, and then transitioned over to Hyundai, and love it. So,
Love Hyundais.
Yep, Hyundais are great.
Yes, I drive one. I've driven for over 5 years now.
They're great cars.
Love them.
They're
yes.
great cars.
I would highly recommend them to everyone I know, even though that's probably not the luxury car, even though they have luxury cars.
Yeah,
yes.
They have the Genesis. Yeah,
Yes.
it's funny. You know, I was telling somebody, I talk to a lot of my clients, they say, you know, Hyundai, when they started off, you know, they didn't come out of the box, you know, setting the world on fire. They were kind of like the gym shoes that you wore, that you used them, you worked out in them, and when you're done with them, you threw them out because they didn't owe you anything.
Yeah.
You know, and now people will come back 10, 15 years later, and Hyundai does their own steel. They've got the best warranty in the business. You know, they're constantly pushing technology that people come back and they get in the cars and they're like, oh my gosh, this is a Hyundai.
Yeah.
You know, I think
That's
the
a good analogy of Hyundai for sure.
You know, it's nice is they're hungry. They haven't made it yet, so they're still constantly fighting for new and exciting ways.
What do you mean they haven't made it yet? They're
Well, I think they're the approach, right?
Okay,
so obviously,
okay.
I think they've made it, but they don't have that stance.
That
of, like,
mentality.
being-
How long have they been around?
Since for 60, 70
Wow.
years. So,
My first car was a Hyundai Excel.
Okay.
Back in but it was like $2,000, little box car
Yeah.
that my mom bought me, sent me off to college in 1992 or 93.
Oh yeah.
And
Mine was a Honda Civic.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it was crazy that they've advanced so much.
And they've been around for so long, and a lot of their cars, you know, start in Europe and then they come over.
Yes.
So there's cars that here we know them as, you know, Elantras and Sonatas, and in Europe they're the i30 and the i40, I believe. So, you know, you'll see a lot of stuff that starts off or sticks in Europe that doesn't necessarily always make it to the States, and so it's just nice. They're you know they're a great company to work for, and they really care
Great
about
car
their
to
clients.
drive.
Yeah, very safe. Very
Well,
fun
great.
cars to
So,
drive.
did you just fall into the the car industry, or how did that happen?
So great question. So before the car business, I was in banking, and I just was.
I knew that.
Yep. I was working at a bank and doing that grind, and loved the people. And you know, I was living with some friends that were in the car business that had the wife had been in the car business the whole time. Her husband had been in the car business, went and worked at the bank, and then went back to the car business. And I was kind of burnt out on the bank. You know, I love the people, but just some stuff in my life was going on. You know, with my mother not being well, and I just got burnt out on the bank.
Yeah,
and I had
something
accumulated all this vacation time, and thankfully I had a really nice manager who, instead of going, hey, I want to get my 2 weeks and I'm out, was like, I really value as an employee, and so what I'm going to do is basically have you go on vacation. So I took what was amounted to like 6 or 7 weeks of vacation. Went off and tried it. He said, hey, if you like it, great. If you don't like it and it doesn't work out, I'm going to leave the door open for you so you can basically walk back into your job without losing any time. You know, exactly. So I was blown away. and really loved that, and went off and started
It's very
selling
smart
cars.
of him.
And yeah, it was really nice. I mean, we're still very good friends, and it was really not, probably could have gone differently.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean, how it is now, you have time, and people put time and effort into you, and all of a sudden just walk away. People don't always go like, oh hey, this, go ahead and come back. So it was nice to have his support, and
so it gave you that transition time to figure out if you really wanted to be
exactly
in the car industry, because that is, once you got to hit the ground running, and it's a grind as well. I definitely have known a few people that are no longer in the car business but are still in there, or that started in there, left, came back, and I don't think you're the only person that I can think of within my circle of friends that is still doing the car business. So that's awesome.
Yeah,
it's tough business.
Definitely, it is one of those things where not a lot of times in life do you get a chance to try something on, try a career on with the safety of knowing, hey, I can go back. So that was very nice.
Great opportunity.
To be in that situation.
Well, great. What would you say you like the most about the car business?
The people. I mean, it's one of those things where I've always been relationship driven. So being able to help people. I mean, buying a car is the second most important decision you're ever going to make in your life. So
we could do a couple episodes on Kimberly's
exactly right.
adventures of buying vehicles.
And it's one of those things where a lot of my friends, when I said, hey, I'm going to go do this, we're kind of blown away, because people are like, people hate car people.
Yeah.
People hate car salesmen.
And people don't hate you.
Yeah. So, what's nice about that is I laughed, because at the time, I said, what's nice is I'm actually not a car person, so I just know how to talk to people. I'm not, I always joke with my clients, I'm not, I'm very seasoned and know what's in the car and the functions and all the features and bells and whistles, but trust me, I'm not going to be the person that's under your hood doing your oil changes, fluid flushes, and things like that. I have no idea.
Or stalking you and pressuring you to purchase the car.
Exactly. That's the thing that's really nice. So what's been exciting is it was very hard at first to adjust to that, because there was
stigma.
Right, there's a big stigma, and I think the longer you resist that, the more stress and anxiety that comes with it. And when you really embrace it and go about changing that, and every day kind of going, being kind of an interruption in the sea of bad experiences, you start to make a change, and people start to really, I laugh at people, because part of my job is literally, breaking down the walls, just like in any kind of relationship, friendship, business thing. It's creating rapport and having someone feel comfortable with you, and being able to say, hey, I get it. It's not the most fun situation or the fun experience, but let me make this as easy as possible. Obviously, it's a whole different world now from when it was when our parents were buying cars, where it was, a lot of power was in the hands of the people selling the cars. Now, with computers and the internet and
everybody's
TrueCar,
educated.
and there's so much education that really, it's one of those things. I always joke with people. It's like, when you're, when you have a bad breakup, the next relationship, you're like, the next relationship's going to be different. It's going to be so much better. I'm not going to make all these mistakes that I made last time. And you find yourself in that next relationship going, this is what I want, and intellectually I know this is what I need to do, but all of a sudden you go back into your old habits, and all of a sudden you create, so I always joke with people, I'm like, hey, I know I'm like the 100th person that's talked to you today, but let's go ahead and just start from scratch. My name's Michael. Break it down. People are people, and want, and my thing is relationship and creating something that's different and exciting. It doesn't have to be painful. It really is something that can be fun. Yeah,
because buying a car can be painful. So is that how you came up with your carrying car guy?
It was. So I've been working really hard.
Which, by the way, I commend you on. When I saw that, I was like, that is awesome.
It was one of those things where, I've been doing some training and part of a group on Facebook called Sales Hustlers. And what it is it's where, it's being committed to changing the way people buy cars and creating, changing that stigma. And a lot of it was branding yourself, and a lot of it was just getting out there and getting on social media and showing people the the humanness of us, just the same as in your business. People want to know, the person that they're working with, and
that they can trust them, that and that they're a real person, not just behind like the desk.
Yeah, exactly. It's putting, it's people don't want to buy, it's kind of also being an interruption. People want to buy from people that they know, like, and trust. So the quicker you can, drop their walls it's not only going to make their experience easier, but it's going to make your experience working with them easier
Yeah.
as well. So it's
a
really
win for
just,
everyone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, you're doing a great job, especially on your Instagram. I guess I need to go back and follow you on Facebook now that they've changed all their rules. But
Right.
when I saw that on Instagram, I was like, "Oh, you go, Michael."
It's fun,
It's
you know.
awesome.
I mean, there's a lot of fun things. I do a lot of memes and a lot of cool pictures and trying
not
to get that,
salesy
and
at
trying
all.
to get that engagement.
Yeah,
Right, it's
yeah.
fun, you know.
Yeah.
It's one of those things I did the other day. It was a picture of a cassette tape, and it
I
says,
saw that.
if this is still in your car, you need to call me. So it's one of those things. Yeah, you know. I always tell people I like to use analogies, as I think you know, and I always tell people buying a car doesn't have to be brain surgery.
Yeah.
And I can say that because I've actually had brain surgery.
Uh-huh.
You're like, I knew
Yes.
that all along. Yes, very clearly. That
That's
was
what
not
it
something
was.
that went by. But it does, you know, and a lot
Yeah.
of it is literally just going, hey, I'm on your side, sitting there, walking them through, and making it
Explaining
easy,
everything, yeah.
You know, it's one of those things where it can be easy, you know, all the way from the people that come in and go, hey, I want that white 2018 Elantra Sport, to, hey, I want a car, I'm not sure what it's going to be.
Yeah.
So it can, you know, it literally can be that simple, and I've had
And they didn't,
people-
and Hyundai, like, not to interrupt you, but I'm going to interrupt you. They don't negotiate, right? That was whenever I went. That's one of the main reasons I started going towards Hyundai, pronounce it correctly for me. Hyundai.
Yeah.
Because I didn't have to quote unquote haggle with someone.
Right.
Like the car was what if they had it, this is what it was,
Yep.
and I really liked that. I mean, there were a few nuances that you gotta
Right.
get through, but it made my life a whole lot better.
Oh, sure.
Less stress. But then when I drove them, I loved them, and then so I've just the past 2 cars have been
Yeah,
Hyundais.
I mean
for
that's the
sure.
thing that's great with their shopper assurance. They have programs now where they want to make it easy. That's the biggest feedback that the company receives is time in the dealership.
Oh,
So
yes.
they say, you know, a couple of things to get boring. They say the average person spends 14, 15 hours before they even approach a dealership. And the national average is every person meets about 1.4 dealerships. So that's more information than you care to know.
Yeah.
By the time you're coming to see us, we're keen to earn your business because 1, you've already, for the most part, know where you're going,
Yeah.
and 2, the likelihood of me seeing you is slim to none. So the reason there's, you know, the fine line is sometimes we make it harder than it has to be, we the buyer.
Yeah.
Where if, you know, we were friends like you and I, where we have that relationship where you can say, hey, I'm really just trying to be at, you know, $400 a month, this is my credit, this is what I'm doing. And, you know, maybe if you give me a little bit more money for my trade or X or Y, instead of that, we kind of make it hard. Well, I've got to do this and have to think that. And don't get me wrong, like, big decision.
Yeah.
But the problem is, you know, you ask that question like, hey, so, you know, if I can do a little bit more of this, would we be able to earn your business?
Yeah.
And trying to find that
Happy medium.
happy medium, exactly, because 1, we want to make sure to take care of you, and to me, like I tell my clients, it's not about one transaction, but that's the other thing too, is
They're going to come back to you.
you know, want to come back. You
And
want
refer
have
you
that-
to people.
Exactly. I tell people, you know, I'm not gonna retire off of selling you this car.
Yeah.
What I
So
what
I'm
my, you
here.
know, like what I want to do is I want to see you. You know, I
Yeah.
want to see you. I want to see your kids. You know,
Yeah.
I have a long-standing thing with all my clients. If you send somebody in that buys a car for me, I send you $100. So
Oh,
I always
wow.
tell people.
Referral programs works,
exactly.
yeah.
Yep. I tell people, you know, if you need $100 for whatever, have somebody come, you know, keep your ear out, have them call me, let me know how I can help them, and
Yeah.
you know, that's the. Cause I'd rather
Listen.
have, like I said, I mean, and I think you'd agree, you know, the biggest thing you can do is have people running around town talking about how good of an experience, especially buying cars. I mean,
Yes.
that's one of the things, you know, being in sales, you want to buy, you know, you want to be connected with people that are proficient in their industry and
Yes.
understand and appreciate those things,
Yes.
and then say, hey, well, I need some work done on my house, or I need some work on this. Oh, well, call Bill or call
Yeah.
Steve. You know, I want to be that person that people think, oh, buying a car, easy. You know,
You're
easy
caring car
experience,
guy,
caring
yes,
car guy.
yeah.
So that's how that kind of came about.
That's awesome. Well, I can tell you that I put finding a car salesman or dealership into the category of like a dentist, or where it's so painful that I ask friends, like I'll ask 5 different friends first about their car, where they bought it or whatever. Same thing with dentists before I actually make that move. But now I don't have to, because I just get here.
There you go.
I'm so excited.
Yep, exactly. It makes it easy.
Well, okay, so so that this doesn't become a 30-minute podcast, which I have thought of 3 other topics I could talk to you about, which we will come at a later time.
Check off one.
Yes.
Yep.
What would you tell your younger self? Is my standing question for this podcast.
I love that, and I heard that on another one. I think the biggest thing is trust yourself, and don't be afraid to take a couple things. Well, because I can't answer one thing. I think it would be trust yourself, take risks, and enjoy the moment. I think the thing, as I've gotten older, and we kind of joke, I think it's just being present in the moment.
Yes.
And enjoying those little experiences, enjoying those little moments of time, because you turn around and
it's gone.
It's gone. Yeah. I have friends.
You're 45 like me.
Right.
You're 42 like
wait,
you.
What? Oh, where I have friends that, I'll never forget. I have a friend who I literally held his daughter as a baby. She just started her freshman year at Cal State.
Does that not make you feel old?
Very old. I have friends that are kids that were kids that have kids now, and so it's just one of those things. Life is short. You got to really appreciate the day to day and the So that's why, trust yourself, take risks, and have fun. It's life is
be in the moment. That's short. Great advice.
You gotta appreciate. You gotta appreciate the person you're in front of, and who you meet and who you can make smile and have fun. And it's really just
value the time, because we don't ever get that time back. That is
definitely
more important than, it's just my opinion, money. Like you of course everybody needs money, but you can't ever, and you can get back money, but you can't get back your time. So.
I've met some of the most interesting people just talking. I can't tell you how many times I've been in different restaurants and different stores where people are like, "Oh, you must be the manager," or and like,
you have a very professional, trusting look.
You're looking for the toilet paper section. It's 2 halls down on the right, and they're like, "Thank you," and I'm like, "Oh no, I don't work here. No, it's over there." It's fun.
I regularly shop here.
I joke with people a lot that I was the reason Stranger Danger was invented. Because I was that.
Don't say that.
No, I know. All right. I have to
preface
this. I have to preface this. I understand we live in a world where you have to be very careful of that. But I was that kid that was, 6, 7, 8. That never met a stranger. That was talking to people and engaging with people and asking people questions and how does this work and what does that do, and
super inquisitive. You could have been. You could have been.
A very nice way of saying I was that irritating kid that wouldn't shut up. I'm like, go sit at the kid table. But I think it's just fun. I've always had a curiosity for people and getting to know people and figuring out where people come from and what makes people tick, and so I think that's kind of.
I do love your advice to your younger self, which was.
Trust yourself, take risks, and just be present. Enjoy the moment.
Trust yourself, take risks, and be present.
I think it's one of those things that's always, I don't know how it is for you, but like, you get it intellectually, like, oh yeah, that makes sense. That's,
the light bulb goes off.
Right. And all of a sudden in the minute of when you're in the do and you're running around doing all this stuff and, you're kind of in the grind and the hustle of things in life and all this stuff, and you forget, like, oh, wait, so.
Well, that's great advice. I do have a fun fact I want to share. So you're an accomplished sailor?
I am. Well, I am. That's a nice compliment.
Yeah.
I'm an accomplished sailor.
Well, you never drowned.
That's true. Successful, right? I had a friend that said equal takeoffs, equal landings.
Yeah.
So, yep. I love sailing. So very happenstance was one of those things. I was never, I think, like you, that kid that wasn't allowed to sit around, that was doing, always doing stuff. And my mom had said, I want you to try this. And so literally got dropped off one day. I spent more time, this was in Hawaii, so I was in the ocean, and you have to tread water, important thing, prerequisite.
Yeah.
And they actually have you sail that day, so you're actually physically doing it.
Oh,
you don't know what you're doing, but you're doing it.
That's cool.
And I vividly remember going, I don't know what I did, but it was the best thing, and I want to do it, and do it again. And so it was one of those things where that was my escape. As soon as school was over, and it was one of those things where super grateful, because it was such a source of self-confidence and, kind of that taking risks. And it was something that I've been lucky enough to sail across the Pacific Ocean twice. I've sailed in Norway. I've sailed, in San Francisco, Long Beach, Newport, And
it took you a lot of places
yeah.
that it normally wouldn't have if you had never learned.
Oh, sure. Yeah, and it's just one of those things, super great, again, like coming back, like super grateful. My mom's like, try this out. And it was one of those things where, it could have literally been something that was nothing. And it was one of those things where it was the greatest thing ever because I was,
that's awesome.
I was forcing myself out of my comfort zone and I was, competing against adults and competing against people from, old, young, beginning, advanced. And it was one of those things where I derived so much confidence because as I started to,
hone your skills,
hone my skills and start to do well. I mean, it was a disaster the first year.
Yeah.
It was thankfully I persevered enough that I spent more time in the boat than out of the boat as I was starting. I was very much behind the game, and I had 2 left feet. I always tell my dance partners I have 2 left feet. Well, I was that uncoordinated when I started off, and so it was just one of those things that's amazing, to be able to get out there.
Practice makes perfect.
Yeah, like it was fun because I did stuff by myself and I did stuff as a crew. So I raced with anywhere between 5 and 9 people, and a lot of times I was the person that was leading the group and being younger, so I learned a lot of leadership skills and learned a lot of like how to empower people and how to get people on your side, especially when you're younger than they are and they're looking to you for the answers and you don't want to, didn't want to let them down.
Yeah. A
lot of confidence building.
Yeah.
So, it's really fun. It's one of those things where that's like my happy place, People are like, it's fun when I get to take people out. Over the years, I've gotten to take people out that I've worked with that, know me in work, and then to go out sailing and
it's a whole different ballgame.
It's a whole different ballgame, and to get to kind of see me in my element, just like just like I always find it fun when you put people in their element and see the lights come on and see all that. I took a friend who had never been sailing in his entire life, and got him out there, showed him a few things, and he did. I mean, I had him up in, it was very windy with all the sails up, turning the boat and maneuvering the boat, and he caught on so quickly, and just to see the lights flicker
it's
on.
An accomplishment
it's just one of those things, So
fulfilling.
I've been very, very lucky and very grateful, and there's something about being on the water in the middle of the Pacific Ocean with no street lights and cell phones and see dolphins and see the most amazing moonrises and sunsets and just being in the moment, being there at the time. So if someone's looking for advice on a car or a boat, you could help them. Definitely, right?
Even though you don't sell boats, but
right. That'll be the second thing. That'll be the next phase.
There we go. Well, thank you again, Michael. I really appreciate you coming and joining me today. And like I said, I have thought of 3 other topics that we can discuss. So stay tuned. Yes,
let's do it.
Definitely.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, and thank you to my listeners, which it is growing. I actually looked on my software, and I have had 200 listeners since I started. So I'm very excited.
I'll tell all my people, tell your people,
and speaking of, like, since you give referrals, if someone hears this podcast is looking for a vehicle and they mention this podcast, they will get.
You come see me, and I'll give you another $100 off the car, or we'll give you a $100 gift card.
Okay, he'll figure something out.
Starbucks, gas card,
you name
whatever.
it. So mention that you heard about the Carrying Car Guy on this podcast, Industry Celebrities, Kimberly Scott, or just a podcast, whatever. Because hopefully, tell your friends. Yes. And then search for me, Kimberly D. Scott, to subscribe to my YouTube channel, iTunes podcast, and follow me on Facebook, Insta, Twitter, Snapchat, LinkedIn. And until next week, stay positive and keep growing. Thanks, Michael.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
You too.